All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are unpacking a really practical playbook for all you nonprofits out there trying to navigate the modern fundraising world. We're going to cover what it actually takes for your sponsorship program to not just get by, but to seriously thrive come 2026. Let's dive in. So, first things first, let me ask you a question. With donor expectations totally shifting and digital tools changing faster than we can keep up, is your fundraising strategy actually built for the future? It's a huge question, because the landscape, well, it's facing some pretty serious headwinds. And the first major challenge is all about trust. Get this. As of 2023, only 52% of Americans actually trust nonprofits. I mean, that's a tough place to start, right? Overcoming that skepticism it's just not optional anymore. And the second challenge, it's retention. For every 100 donors a nonprofit brings in, they only keep about 43 of them from one year to the next. That's basically like trying to fill a bucket that's got a massive hole in it. So much effort just goes to replacing people, not building relationships. So when you're facing dwindling trust and that leaky bucket problem, it becomes super clear that the old rules just don't apply anymore. But hey, this isn't about doom and gloom. It's just about recognizing the game has changed. And that means we need a whole new playbook, one that's built on tech, on storytelling, and on personalization. So let's start with the first part of that playbook, your tech toolkit. Look, the right technology isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's the engine. It's what powers a modern, efficient, and truly effective sponsorship program. And this whole process, it really just boils down to 3 essential steps. First, you've got to centralize all your data in one place. From there, you can analyze that info to make your outreach personal. And finally, you have to make the payment experience itself completely seamless and totally secure. The power of having a single source of truth for your data, it's incredible. Just look at UNICEF. When they brought in a centralized system with smart matching algorithms, they didn't just boost successful sponsor matches by 45%. They also cut their administrative time by a whopping 60%. Imagine what you could do with all that time back in your day. Okay, so you've got the data. Now what? Well, you personalize. And this chart right here shows you exactly why that's so important. A full quarter of donors stop giving simply because an organization doesn't communicate transparently about its impact. Data helps you fix that. It lets you tailor your messages to show donors exactly what their support has achieved. In the last piece of the tech puzzle, you have to make the act of giving itself completely effortless. Things like one-click donations and super easy recurring payments, they remove all the friction. In a world of short attention spans, you have to capture a donor's goodwill the moment it peaks. Plus, a secure process builds that fundamental trust we were just talking about. Okay, so let's build on that. If technology is the how, then storytelling, that's the why. It's the human part of all this. It's what turns data points into real, meaningful connections and inspires people to actually do something. And the results? They're staggering. Nonprofits that really truly master storytelling can raise up to 400% more in donations than those who just stick to the data. I mean, think about that for a second. That's not a tiny difference. That is a complete game changer. So why does this work so well? Well, our brains are literally hardwired for stories. Raw facts and big numbers, they can lead to this thing called compassion fade, where the problem feels so big and abstract that we just tune out. But a single person's story, it's 22 times more memorable. Why? Because it triggers empathy and creates a real emotional connection. And the best part is, you don't need to be some professional novelist to do this. A powerful story follows a simple, classic formula. First, introduce a real person who's facing a challenge. Second, show exactly how your organization stepped in to help. And then you end with a clear call to action that invites the donor to be part of that solution. It's that simple. And this right here shows you the real-world impact. The EduBridge Foundation started sending these simple, plain text updates on how individual students were doing at 30, 60, and 90 days. And the result? An 8% jump in donor retention. That's the power of making your impact personal and tangible. Okay, so now let's bring these 2 huge ideas together, because when you combine the power of your tech toolkit with amazing storytelling, that's when you can start personalizing the entire donor journey. That's when you can make every single supporter feel uniquely valued. And this is so critical, because a staggering 94% of people who stop engaging with an organization say it's because of irrelevant communication. We have to stop treating our donors like a giant, faceless group and start treating them like the individuals they are. A great way to do this is with what's called the instant then authentic approach. As you can see here, you use automation to send an immediate thank you within minutes of a donation. But then, and this is the key part, you follow it up with a genuine human touch, like a personal phone call or a handwritten note within 48 hours. It's the perfect blend of efficiency and authenticity. And this quote from Rob Burke at DonorDoc just nails it. He says, "Tools don't build relationships, you do, but the right tools can give you back the time to connect meaningfully with your donors." That's it right there. Technology isn't supposed to replace human connection. It's supposed to free you up so you can focus on building it. All right, for our last section, let's talk about the long game. How do you measure what really matters? And how do you get your organization ready for the trends that are just around the corner? This is all about being strategic and thinking ahead. One of the most powerful ways to measure success is something called social return on investment, or SROI. Now, it sounds a little bit like jargon, but the idea is actually simple. It moves beyond just tracking dollars and cents. It helps you measure the total social value your programs create, giving you a much richer picture of your real impact. So check out this example from JVS Greater Boston. They actually calculated that for every $1 they invested in certain programs, they created $3.50 in social value. Can you just imagine how powerful it is to go to a sponsor and say, for every dollar you give us, we create this much good in the world? It completely changes the conversation. And as we look to the future, there are 3 key trends you've got to watch. First, subscription giving. It already makes up almost a third of online revenue and gives you that stable, predictable funding. Second, corporate ESG partnerships are exploding as consumers demand social responsibility from the brands they support. And finally, micro-influencers. They are an amazing way to reach specific audiences with messages that feel really authentic. You know, Dan Lambay from the Arbor Day Foundation really sums it all up perfectly. He says these partnerships will evolve and expand, but doing it with intention and clarity is what's important. And that's the whole point. A successful 2026 program is strategic, it's transparent, and it's authentic. So, we end right back where we started, with a question. The tools are here. The strategies are proven. Your donors, they are ready for a more personal, impactful, and transparent future of giving. So the only real question left is this: is your organization ready to meet them there?